WXII Winston-Salem, Greensboro-High Point.
From Newscenter 12, this is the 6 o'clock report.
Good evening, I'm Rick Amy.
And I'm
From Newscenter 12, this is Nightbeat.
Good evening, I'm Harvey Bennett.
And I'm Susan Bruce.
WXII, Channel 12, Winston-Salem, Greensboro, High Point. And now, Rick Amy, Denise Franklin, Cameron Kent on sports, and meteorologist Paul Delgado with weather. This is the Channel 12 News 6 o'clock report.
Good evening. A Piedmont animal shelter that has been under fire.
Channel 12, WXII, Winston-Salem, Greensboro, High Point. And now, Rick Emy, Denise Franklin, meteorologist Paul Delgado, and Dan Rath with sports. This is the Channel 12 News 6 o'clock report. Channel 12, WXII, Winston-Salem, Greensboro, High Point. And now, Rick Emy, Lynn Lazar, meteorologist Paul Delgado, and Dan Rath with sports. This is Channel 12 News Nightbeat. WXII, the one to watch. And now, Frank Buckley, Margaret Johnson, Chris Runge with weather, and Dave Gorin with sports. This is NewsWatch 12 at 6.
Good evening.
WXII, the one to watch. And now, Frank Buckley, Margaret Johnson, Chris Runge with weather, and Dave Gorin with sports. This is NewsWatch 12 at 11.
Good evening. President Bush is not responding to heart medication.
You're watching WXII, your Carolina News Connection. And now, Rick Emy, Ann Gianarelli, meteorologist Paul Delgado, and Dan Rath with sports. This is Nightwatch 12. NewsWatch 12, the only Piedmont television station recognized for excellence by the Associated Press. And now, Rick Emy, Kathy Murphy, Scott Zahorik with weather, and Dan Rath with sports. This is NewsWatch 12 at 6.
Today we found more pigeons still dying in the streets of Winston-Salem, but maybe there's an explanation. Plus, have you seen enough construction? Have you heard what's coming this weekend? Good evening. Kathy is off tonight.
NewsWatch 12, the only Piedmont television station recognized for excellence by the Associated Press. This is NewsWatch 12 at 11.
Good evening. I'm Margaret Johnson.
And I'm Rick Emy. Here are some of the top stories we're bringing you tonight.
NewsWatch 12, the only Piedmont television station recognized for excellence by the Associated Press. And now, Rick Emy, Kathy Murphy, Scott Zahorik with weather, and Dan Rath with sports. This is NewsWatch 12 at 11.
Ricky Knight is sentenced for murder, but the prosecutor and most of the jurors are not pleased with the outcome. Another child is found with a gun in a local school, and officials have a plan to stop it. Plus, some companies in our area are suddenly getting a whole lot more business. Good evening. Quite simply, many more people are...
You're watching NewsWatch 12 at 6 with Cameron Kent, Kathy Murphy, Chris Runge with weather, and Dan Rath with sports. This is NewsWatch 12 at 6. You're watching the #1 news source for the Western Piedmont. This is News Channel 12 at 11 o'clock.
Good evening, I'm Cameron Kent.
And I'm Kathy Murphy.
From WXII WXII, the station for complete local coverage of the Western Piedmont. This is News Channel 12 at 5 o'clock.
Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Wanda Stark.
And I'm Cameron Kent. It is.
You're watching News Channel 12 at 5 o'clock with Cameron Kent, Wanda Stark, and AMS meteorologist John Wendell. Complete local coverage of the Western Piedmont. You're watching News Channel 12 at 5:30 with James Brown, Wanda Stark, and AMS meteorologist John Wendell. Complete local coverage of the Western Piedmont. From WXII, the station for complete local coverage of the Western Piedmont. This is News Channel 12 at 6 o'clock.
A day out turns into trouble for...
You're watching News Channel 12 at 6 o'clock with Chris Horn, Shaniqua Manning, AMS meteorologist Jeff Harden, and sports with Dave Gorin. Complete local coverage of the Western Piedmont. You're watching News Channel 12 at 6 o'clock with Cameron Kent, Kimberly Van Scoy, AMS meteorologist John Wendell, and sports with Dan Rath. Complete local coverage of the Western Piedmont. On WXII, the station for complete local coverage of the Western Piedmont. This is News Channel 12 at 11.
Thousands of NASCAR fans pull into...
They just went where no show has gone before. How do they think they did? Find out in a live report. Plus, we'll check out the real-life drama of the real-life ER. And putting together a whole different kind of live broadcast right here in the Western Piedmont.
From WXII, the station with complete local coverage of the Western Piedmont. This is 11 at 11 on News Channel 12.
Good evening and welcome to 11 at 11.
WXII TV, Winston-Salem, Greensboro-High Point. Now, from the station with complete local coverage of the Piedmont Triad, this is WXII News Channel 12 at 5 o'clock.
From WXII 12, this is WXII 12 News at 11 o'clock.
Just ahead, how making a turkey...
You're watching WXII 12 News with Cameron Kent, Wanda Stark, AMS Chief Meteorologist Laney Pope, and Dave Gorin with sports.
From WXII 12, this is WXII 12 News.
If you're making a rent payment right now, you could very well get into a home for the same amount of money that you're paying for rent.
The housing bubble may have burst, but it could mean the deal of a lifetime for you.
You're watching the #1 choice for news in the Triad with Cameron Kent, Wanda Stark, and Chief Meteorologist Laney Pope. This is WXII 12 News. You're watching the Triad's #1 newscast, WXII 12 News at 11.
Yeah, they did. They took me in a different room, and that's when they took my pants.
The TSA is back in the spotlight tonight with yet another questionable search.
The Triad's #1 news, WXII 12 News, with Kimberly Van Scoy, Nicole Duker, and meteorologist Austin Cavanis.
And a live look right now at our weather camera in North Wilkesboro as we get ready for another warm weekend.
Covering the entire Piedmont Triad and everywhere you are. This is WXII 12 News at 6.
A strange string of events coming up. The reasoning a robber gave his victim, explaining why he committed the crime. I'm Brianna Connor. I'll have that story live.
The Triad's #1 news, WXII 12 News, with Kimberly Van Scoy, Kenny Beck, meteorologist Brian Slocum, and traffic with Chris Lee.
Good Monday morning, everybody. 6:30 if you're just waking up. First full week of August. We have the team back together. We'll get a check on traffic with Chris in a minute. But
covering the entire Piedmont Triad and everywhere you are. This is WXII 12 News at noon.
Why are hundreds of people walking off the job today and creating scenes like this one? Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Margaret Johnson. Thank you so much for joining us.
Covering the entire Piedmont Triad and everywhere you are, this is WXII 12 News at 11.
Thank you for watching tonight. I'm Rob Wu.
The Triad's #1 news, covering the entire Piedmont Triad. This is WXII 12 News.
New York City police say they've made an arrest in the...
You're watching WXII 12. Covering the entire Piedmont Triad and everywhere you are. This is WXII 12 News at 11.
Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Janae Lewis.
WXII 12 News at 11 starts right now.
We are making America great again. You haven't heard that, have you?
And they may be celebrating today, but I have the feeling that next November they will not be celebrating quite as much.
WXII 12 News at 4:30 starts right now.
And conflicts among the candidates, the questions asked and statements said that made the district race debate one for the books. Plus, pay close attention to that November ballot, how your vote can help teachers right here in the Triad. And a store clerk recalling what could have been his final moments, what could lead police to catching the people who set him on fire. Good Wednesday morning, folks. Thanks for starting your day with us. I'm Devontae McKenna.
And I'm meteorologist Brian Slocum. It is Wednesday.
Hump Day.
WXII 12 News at 8 on the Triad CW starts now.
Well, you've probably heard the Mega Millions winning ticket was sold in South Carolina, but North Carolina's got a little skin in this too.
WXII 12 News at noon starts right now.
Religious leaders speak out on the DREAM Act. I'm Bill O'Neill in Greensboro. That story coming up next.
From WXII 12 News, this is breaking news.
Tonight, authorities are searching for this person suspected of tying a man up, then dousing him in diesel fuel.
WXII 12 News at 10 on the Triad CW starts now.
Mega Millions madness. Do you have the winning numbers to claim that record jackpot? We'll talk about that, plus Commitment 2018.
WXII 12 News at 11 starts right now.
Right now at 11, communities across the U.S. are in cleanup mode, how they're handling flooding, and what's in store for the Triad's weather this week. Plus, one man is behind bars, what charges he's now facing after a very tense situation last night that could have turned into a deadly one. And students and families were back at the site of the South Florida school shooting, where the debate on gun control stands. This is lawmakers get ready to go back to work. But first, crews spent much of the day fixing down power lines and moving trees from the road. This after a storm tore through parts of Ohio.
WXII Winston-Salem, Greensboro-High Point.